She's the adorable little girl whose murder has baffled investigators for the last 25 years.
God bless America.
6-year-old pageant contestant JonBenet Ramsey was found strangled in the basement of her own home in Boulder, Colorado, the day after Christmas 1996. Inside Edition has been reporting on the case ever since.
A story that is gripping the nation. It is the investigation of the murder of little JonBenet Ramsey.
JonBenet's slaying is now one of America's greatest murder mysteries. 25 years later, after countless twists and turns, false leads, and dead ends, the case remains frustratingly unsolved.
Very little about this case makes sense.
Investigative reporter Paula Woodward has covered the case from day one. The investigation, she says, was flawed from the beginning.
You'll have a police department in Boulder which did not have a homicide department because they simply didn't have enough homicides to justify one.
So who did it? Early on, suspicion fell on JonBenet's family.
Please, if you know anything, I beg you to call us.
It was leaked by the police that the Ramseys, quote, weren't acting right.
But Woodward says the suspicions flew in the face of the evidence.
There are police reports which say that first night, Patsy and John Ramsey were hysterical with crying. They couldn't stand up. They would fall to the floor.
The Ramseys were officially exonerated in 2008. Posthumously, in Patty Ramsey's case, she died from ovarian cancer 2 years before. The case took a bombshell turn when this puzzling character came forward to claim he killed JonBenet accidentally.
I love JonBenet.
John Mark Carr flew back to the U.S. from Thailand to face questioning, but investigators concluded he was a fantasist who had nothing to do with JonBenet's slaying. Paula Woodward's new book, Unsolved, The JonBenet Ramsey Murder 25 Years Later, is just out. She writes about the theory supported by most investigators that a still unidentified intruder was responsible. Only advances in DNA technology may one day identify the killer.
I believe there's a good chance the killer can be found if they would test the remaining DNA for genetic components. I think that that's a real possibility.
If she were alive today, JonBenet would be 31 years old, but she remains a little girl, frozen in time, whose life was taken from her by a monster yet to be brought to justice.
I wanna be a cowboy sweetheart.
In a statement issued today, the Boulder Police Department says it regularly compares DNA evidence using new technologies in hopes of one day making a match and finding JonBenet's killer.